Hey friends, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'd like to show you a new challenge which I came across using Power BI, which was in data prep. What do we do if we want to combine tables where the dates do not match? Let me show you the example. You'll also find this file in the resource section to follow along if you want. So let's go to Get Data here and go to Excel. And then let me choose this Merge Challenge option here. So let's load the data, and we see that here we got one piece data. It's just an example here, but we got different kinds of one piece arcs. And these arcs have a start date and an end date. And we also have episodes here, episode 1 to 13, and they also have here a release date. The dates are not correct, but for this use case here, it works. So as you can see here, for instance, for the release date, the first episode was on the 20th of October 1999. So if you want to map this to the arcs, and I'll go here, I can see that I got a start date here. This would work, right? Because the date is the same. However, if I take a closer look at the other ones, for instance, the 17th of November 1999, for episode number 2 in here, this one would not match with any date in here. There is no 17th of November. But it would actually still fall into this first category, right? So it would belong to East Blue. So how do we map this using the Power Query editor in Power BI? That is the challenge. So let's go into that. Let me just first tick the two tables, tick these options, and then go to Transform Data to open the editor. And here we go. So now what we need to do is basically we want to map here the relevant arc, right? This is the information we want to get from here regarding the start and the end date. So what we could do, and this is the original idea, is of course we could actually add another column in here which contains the complete table. So just to show it to you, if I go to Add Column here, and then I choose Custom Column, then of course I can, let me drag this here, and search for my custom column. And next to columns, I could also go in here and just choose a complete table. So if I want refer to one piece arcs, you can see that it is proposed. So I can tick this option, and there are no syntax errors, that's fine. I click OK. And of course now, with this custom option here, I would get the complete table. So that just means that for each row in my One Piece episodes, I get all the rows from One Piece arcs. As you can see here, this is the complete table, all the arcs, and the same is true for the second row and the third row and so on. So basically currently nothing is filtered. We just map each row from One Piece arcs to each row in here from One Piece episodes. So it's kind of cross-join if you want, currently. So what do we do now? Well, the idea is kind of the same, because we still want this table here, but we want to only have specific rows from the other table, right? Where the date is greater than the start date, or greater or equal to the start date, but less than the end date. Just to map each date here to one specific column from here to get the arc name. So how do we do this? Of course, now we would just go to, in this case, Home, and then the Advanced Editor, because we need to go into the editor itself. And this step here is actually already the right one here. We would like to have each One Piece arc. That means each row from the One Piece arcs table. But of course, now we need to filter it down. And I already prepared it, the script, so you just don't need to write it. And of course, I also added to the resource section. But let me just paste it in here, and then let's actually find out how it works. So let me just give me that, and I will copy it from here. Control-C to copy it. And then I go in here and I just paste it inside here like that. And then I just add here in Add Custom. This of course needs to have the name of the last step, which is in our case result. Of course, if you name it differently here, you'd also name it differently here. So let me just extend this a little bit and let's just see what we do. I also keep this Edit Custom step inside. We don't need it actually. Of course, you could remove it if you want. But for now, let's just keep it just to see how we actually modified this original thing. Because the original one, this first step here, this was just giving us all the rows from the original table, right? And what we now do inside the script is the following, right? We still use each table.selectRows. So we still refer to this table the same way as we did it here, but we use the function selectRows because we only want to have specific rows, right? And the selectRows function needs to have a table, which we give it here. And now we need to specify which of the rows. And this we do in here as we specify row, and then we say the release date is greater or equal than from the row, and the row is referring to each row inside this One Piece arcs table. That's the idea. And it's referring to the column start date, and we say that the release date should be greater or equal to the start date, And the release date at the same time should be less or equal to the end date. So basically, this row start date and row end date, these two refer to the One Piece arcs table, and the release date in here as well as in here, this is referring to the current table we are in, which is the One Piece episodes table. And we see that there are no syntax errors, that's fine. So let's actually go in here and say we're done. Click this option, and you see that now we still got a matching table. But now, if we click here next to the table, we see that we only get one row, which in this case is exactly this one, that's fine. There we get an exact match as well. But here, for instance, for the 17th of November in 1999, this is exactly between the start date, which is the 20th October 1999, and the end date, which is the 12th of March 2000, which is exactly a date in between those borders. So we got one specific row from the second table, which in this case is East Blue. And of course, the final thing we need to do is just go to extend here. We uncheck this original name as prefix, and we only want to have the arc name normally, and then we click OK. And now we get each representative arc for the specific date for this episode. And that's it. This is a way how we can map dates where we do not have an exact match in Power Query, but we have a date, and we have in the other table a start date and an end date, and we want to actually map the date to the border, to the relevant start and end date, so it falls in between. So hopefully you enjoyed it. As I said, it is in the resource section. You can download it, you can play around with it, and I really hope that it also works for a lot of your future projects. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.